It's neither alone nor together. It's partly together, partly alone. But as a matter of fact, my experience is that most boats are this way. Hello and welcome everybody to today's video analysis. We are just before the European Junior Championships in Serbia and Belgrade, and this video reached me from Bled, Slovenia. At the stroke seat it is Jaka, and at the bow seat it is Semen who contacted me. These guys want to have some feedback before the Europeans. One thing on a pre-note: if you do changes before a major event, take them slowly, step by step. Don't do drastic changes. The most important thing is that you do slight tweaking before a major event, and after the major event you can redo anything and everything. Good, let's get right into the rowing. First of all, these are two juniors. So if you look at these guys rowing, it looks pretty good for junior rowing. What I especially like about it is the way they patiently approach the catch and then try to propel the boat over the middle part of the drive. This is phenomenally beautiful done. And this is beautifully done. It's almost phenomenal, I would say. That patience at the catch is also quite rare. We see this a lot with athletes, international athletes, who seem to learn to overcome any problem they may have at the catch with an almost brutal leg drive, and that brutal leg drive messes everything up. And these guys also have their problems at the catch. However, they're still patient enough to send that boat along together. Interestingly, Jaka in stroke seat and Semen in bow seat move completely different. However, they still manage to have a synchronized part of the drive, and this is all that matters. In a double, you can basically mess up individually as much as you want, as long as the face of the drive and recovery, that where you are in complete sync, is longer than with all the others. Then you can even allow yourself to be physically weaker. Rowing is simply a very technical sport. If you look at the rowing, as I said, looks absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. The patience in the front end and the nice joint acceleration over the center part of the drive. Namely, and this is what I like especially, is right there. Just before we approach the catch, this is where you will see both oars bending. It's beautiful. And this is also the most important phase of a drive to synchronize. This is where the oars are in the best angle to attack. This is where the boat is already quite fast, and this is where it's easy to transfer all the energy you have into boat motion. There is less inertia to overcome. So any quick change in force distribution has actually a very positive effect. Now, what I don't like is the way you start the drive, and why you do this is different from person to person. If you look at the approach to the catch, you will probably see, and let's just get a little closer here, both athletes actually have very bad blade control. And I'm not being negative here, this is just a fact, and I see this with a lot of boats. You guys are juniors, and at this age, I know blade control is just cosmetics. Why is that coach always talking about blades off the water? Hey, come on, it's not that important. It is. Because it's not so much, I might catch a crab because there's a wave, it is more how you stabilize your body. That's a big issue. And the problem is here, there's not much space for you to square, actually no space at all. You're touching the water. And by the way, if you've never been to Lake Bled, it can be super, super choppy. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, actually right next to the Austrian border, and it's just drop dead gorgeous. However, also this lake can be quite choppy. So don't think Jaka and Semen have no experience with choppy water. So here, there's no space to square. So what you have to do is push the blades deeper into the water. And what you do is you basically use a bit of body weight to do this. So you lean onto something, and this something you lean onto needs to be loosened up at the same time now at the catch. Now you're ready to place the blade gently in the water, make sure it doesn't go any deeper than the water surface actually is, but it's not happening. At that point of the drive, the seat sits still and waits, and now both of you have a different approach to solve that problem. While Jaka, you at the catch, you just start to pivot. You pivot around the hip angle, and you're activating both the antagonist and the agonist. So your agonist is the quads, the quadriceps, and probably a bit of the abdominal muscles. And Semen, you just start with a very, very careful leg drive here at the catch. So Jaka, you're activating the quads here and the abdominals. At the same time, you're full on your glutes, hamstrings, and also on the back muscles. So it's okay to activate agonist and antagonist at the same time. You have to stabilize the body. But at the catch, you don't really want to do that, because if you create the same amount of energy with your agonist muscle groups and your antagonist muscle groups, there isn't any energy left to be transferred into both motion. And if you remember Newton's law, force doesn't evaporate. So if one force is compensated by the other, so they hold against each other, there's no extra force to travel anywhere. And this is a big problem. At the catch, you actually want to have an overhang of force of the agonist, not so much of the antagonist, or an equal force distribution of both parts. So you can create some type of motion. At the beginning, you need to be gentle with the way you apply power with your quads. So the boat is quite slow. If you're too hard, you load up the blade too much and you will activate the antagonist in order to compensate the force that travels back into your body. I've talked about this in numerous videos. And Semen, what you do here at the catch, you have a bit of a better approach here. I don't want to really judge who's the better rower. I think both of you row very, very well, especially given the fact that you're juniors, but this is probably the wiser choice here. Instead of pivoting around your hip, what Jaka does, you just take it very, very easy with your first part of the drive. Your arms are not fully straight, you give yourself a bit of time, you go more together with your hands, you do more the perpendicular motion, and therefore you end up with a blade that is stabilized quicker. And by this I simply mean the blade is not traveling too much up or down, and this means that there's not much water slip over the top of the blade edge. That's the only difference here. Well, Jaka, you pivoting around that hip angle, so you're pivoting upward, which means it brings your shoulder up, and therefore it brings your hands up, and if the hands go up, the blades go down, and therefore there's a lot of slip on the blade. So if this is your blade, there's a lot of water going over the top of your blade. This is actually what random voids are meant to stop. As one of my followers just recently pointed out in a YouTube comment, you can't do without feeling at the catch, and you were absolutely right. I think Andreas Stark was his name. And naturally, random voids do help you to stabilize and connect quicker. Yeah, of course, I think nobody argues about that, but you can't just hammer in the blade and expect random voids to solve all the problems. No, you have to create a bit of extra feeling, just let the blade rest where they are. What random voids do, they tell you where to stop. That's the thing. You actually get a physical feedback. And you don't get this with regular blades. That's probably the greatest importance. And no matter how experienced you are, you just miss that type of feedback. All right. Now, what you do, Semen, here at the drive, you don't dig too deep with your blade. You still do, but it's not so bad. Let's have a look at this. A couple frames back, you do pivot up just a slight bit. You do tighten up here. However, then you start to get into a hang and drive. This is, and I've seen this with, who was there? Was it Itztok Job or Lucas Spik, that famous Slovenian double? They rode just right there, Lake Blade. They got Olympic medals. One of the most interesting boats I've seen so far. Not the most beautiful style in the world, but boy, these were racers. That was absolutely fantastic to see. London Olympics 2012. The Kiwi double. They came out of nowhere. One of the most epic races in the world. Go and watch it. I'm going to link the video in the description. So anyway, back to the topic. Semen, what you do, you really start to connect well and just get the hang. You don't power too hard at the catch. And Jaka, you just power too hard here. You fully activate the quads, the upper body pivots, the blade goes too deep. You are working too much here with power. And I suggest you take it a bit easier, not in terms of being slow at the catch, not in terms of being powerless at the catch, but in terms of feeling, is my blade connected? Gently. You know, imagine you had to push a car. Would you go and ram the car, like just stupid car, give it a hit, move? You're gonna hurt yourself. The same happens in a boat. Water is hugely, hugely strong, much stronger than any possible thing on earth. And the inertia of water is unbeatable. So what you have to do is accept how quick the boat can move through this water body, and then add more momentum as the boat is gaining speed. And this is basically what Semen does, and Jaka, what you're not doing too well. This is where you can be a bit more careful. And as you progress, you of course have different force curve buildups. So if I had to make an educated guess here, I would say, Jaka, you're trying to pick up power very early, and you probably have an early rise. and then you probably have to give in a bit because it's too much for the body, and then you have a slow buildup, you have a pretty steep peak, and then you're losing it again. Probably this is perpendicular. Probably this right there is perpendicular for you. Yeah, and you see both are spending. And Semen, your curve, you probably have a bit of a slow entry and a bit of a plateau, and you keep the momentum a little longer until you drop as well. So at that point of the drive, Jaka, you probably feel like, what's going on, Semen? I'm pulling the boat alone. You should start earlier. And here Semen is thinking, what the hell is Jaka doing up there at the catch? Is he moving at all? Yeah, you just have a bit, better connection here, so you carry more of the boat. Over the center part of the drive, where both of you are pretty similar, actually not too bad. It's going well now. And towards the finish, Semen may think, what's going on? Is Jaka doing anything at the finish? Yes, he is, working a lot. However, you have a different distribution of force here. If you're the coach and you ask the athletes and say, how did it go? What does it feel like? And they can't really tell you. They can't say, yep, we're super spot on together, because it's not true. Well, was it not together? No, actually it always was together, but I don't know. And you sit there as a coach and think, what the hell's going on? Are they together? Are they not together? Of course you have your picture and you have your idea of what it's supposed to be like, but there's no feedback, because it's impossible, because both is true. It's neither alone nor together. It's partly together, partly alone. But as a matter of fact, my experience is that most boats are this way. And the boat that has the highest phase of synchronicity, so the phase with the longest plateau in a team boat, is going to win. This is why in team boats, you don't physically have to be the toughest and strongest. And this is one of the most common mistakes I still see with many federations, no offense, but it's a fact. That is still selection by erg times. It said nothing. First of all, the technique has nothing to do with rowing. Nothing, seriously. And secondly, it's not the fastest that make the fastest boat. It's the ones that move the boat the same way. And you can be physically weak and still be fast as hell as a team boat. Now, is hell already insulting language? No, I don't think so. This is where you are missing speed. However, I think being juniors, this is for a junior boat already quite good. That overlap is not bad at all. You guys are 18 years old. I mean, this is strong. And here to finish the washout you have, this is just a natural consequence. You can't really change that at the finish. Some coaches say, hey, change the washout, pull higher. You can't pull higher. There is too much load on the blade. If you pull higher, you have to let go of some of the force on the blade you have worked so hard to get in the first place. Not possible. How you change it? Preparation as usual. So right there, on the way forward, as you move forward, hands disconnect from the body. Guys, you could really wait a little longer with your knees before you bend. Just give it a bit more time. And that's also something I wanted to point out. Semen, you should really use the entire trunk on the way forward. See right there? You have a huge bend. So you bring the upper section of the trunk forward, and that lower part is still upright straight. That's not effective, because this way most of the weight is on the oar handles, and it should be in the seat. So what I always teach my athletes, use the belly button and open the rib cage on the way forward. Yes, you want to bring the hands out, but you want to open the rib cage as well. This creates a lot of stability. Jaka at the catch, you do bring the entire upper body forward. Looks great, nothing to argue here. However, interestingly, now at the catch you seem to roll like an erg, because you try to reach forward, and this forces your upper section of the trunk into compromised position. So that's not effective as well. And you lean forward, put a lot of weight on your oar handles, blades go up, you say a polite hello, and you wave, and then the blades are not in the best position to move the boat. So here, see, you ready? These extra 3-4 centimeters you're trying to get Jaka are not effective. It's much better to be in a position that is good and doesn't compromise your body position to transfer a lot of force without a lot of effort. And this is what rowing is all about. In all these video analysis I make, and all these technical coachings I do, and all the training plans I write, and all the trainings my athletes do, the only goal I have is to teach you, A, how to transfer most of the force with the least effort possible. So you position your body in a way that you can use the way your body is naturally built. Semen here, your body is not built that you have that extra bend here. No, your body is built that you have a straight force transfer here from that shoulder point to the hip point. So let's not add any detours here. It just requires a lot of muscle work to stabilize the body. Same here. You see how your neck is overextended here, Jaka? Try to get a very comfortable, straight connection from shoulders to hips. That's all we need. Same Semen. And to finish that story up, the second thing that is super important for me in all the training planning I do is make sure you stay aerobic for as long as possible during a race, and then make sure you can tolerate as much lactate as possible. It sounds simple, but this is exactly what we want to achieve. More on that in a different video. If you're interested, I'm gonna do more videos on training planning. Just let me know, put it in the comments below what you think. Should I do more videos on training planning? Happy to do so, but I need your input. All right, Jaka, Semen, let's just follow that. So you progress with the drive, your blade waits too long, your seat is actually ready, but your blade is not, so your seat starts to move. And now both of you have a different way to compensate, and we just talked about this before. Well, Jaka, you pivot upwards. Semen, you do pivot, but then you interrupt. Your force curve most likely has a bit of a dent, I suspect, so probably looks a bit like this. You build up, you give in, and then you start a slow ascent until you have that plateau. And that event I'm talking about is most likely here. Just pick up, reposition, and this is where you stop the pivot motion. You didn't have to do that if you positioned your blades better, which means higher off the water. You see where they are right now? This is exactly where it should be all the time on the way forward. Well, disconnect hands from the body, and then they should have cruising altitude. If it works just before the catch, why can't it work on recovery? This is absolutely important. And then all you would have to do is just to do this. And the upside, I repeat this over and over, a bit of a pre-stretch in the triceps, a bit of a pre-stretch in the shoulders and the lat, the main transfer muscle chains to coordinate the force transfer from your feet to your trunk to your core muscles. These are the ones that transfer all the load. At the catch, spread your wings, open the rib cage. It's not like going forward, get the extra centimeter. Not effective. Guys, don't get me wrong. I think you row extremely well. Beautiful to watch. This is, by any standards, very, very good rowing. But again, I'm interested in how can the good become better? You know, how can you become excellent? And Semen, I'm pretty sure you didn't send me the footage to get praise. You sent me the footage to get some feedback. But again, don't change too much before the juniors. What you could change before the juniors now is that Jaka, try to hang a little more at the drive and be a bit easy on your quads, just the first part of the drive. You can work on the blade work, that has immediate effect. And do it in small doses, not too much of a change. All right, good. There's much more, and sometimes you guys from my community, you're excellent in pointing out, hey, Arm, you didn't talk about this and you didn't talk about this. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. However, sometimes, so that you know, I'm not pointing out everything. Because if you start to talk about everything, the videos are not 10 minutes long, they're 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes long. So I want to keep it short, talk about the main points here that I consider to be interesting. And yes, I most likely leave out a couple of things. Yeah. All right, hey. If you want to send me your video for analysis, there are two ways. Go to armtraining.com and there's a section called video analysis. And you can either have it free, so the entire community benefits, but then I need your permission to publish on social media, on the internet basically. And the best way is upload it, please, 1080p footage. This is not 1080p. This is probably a video that was sent by WhatsApp or some other messengers, and they always crop. So I do always get that grainy image where you can't really see something, but it's the best most of you have available sometimes. So if your coach makes a video, ask your coach, hey coach, can you upload this to YouTube? Please, get me the original footage. Yeah, and the other option to get your video analyzed most of the time quicker, because the waiting list is long but not so long, is to do a paid and private video analysis. It's not going to be online. I'm going to do it for you, only for you, and that's it. All right, good. So, Semen, Jaka, all the best for you for Belgrade 2020. Messed up season, but you're going to make the best of it. And I'm looking forward to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. Ladies and gents, do me a favor. If you have not subscribed to the channel, right now is a good point of time to do so. I'm trying to bring out a lot of relevant video content for rowing technique, and also training planning. Just drop in the comments, what would you like to see more? Help me make the right videos you are interested in. And if you haven't been to armtraining.com, do so. We offer a lot of things that help you to row faster, enjoy the sport more. Training camps, we do personal coaching, we do video analysis, the live indoor rowing sessions, so a lot of things going on.